important in terms of braking efficiency. You go for a really long straight, so you need to have a lot of braking, really good efficiency to be able to brake the car properly, to slow it down and then go down to second gear. So here you go from the highest gear to second gear, which is quite slow for an F1 car. And yeah, what do you think about this first corner thing?
Yeah, so if you guys look behind you and see from where we come from and how long that straight actually is, because obviously the straight begins a lot further back. And like Martin was saying, they're at high speed and they have different setups with the car for these sorts of circuits. They'll have a lot less downforce, and they'll sort the rear wings out to go fast down the straight and compromise down through the corners. So as Martin said, they're at full speed down this straight and then on the brakes down to second gear. Now the G-forces just to get the car stopped from this train is unbelievable. And then we have little challenges like this sausage curb on my side of the truck here. You can see it's raised. Now the cars have not got much space to work through there, and if they make an error, they're going to hit a sausage curb, which they don't want to do, but on the exit they've got gravel. So they're tied in with two little areas of where they don't want to make an error, because they'll get penalised heavily. Now, if anyone remembers, that chicane is actually where Max and Lewis came together in that monumental year for the title battle, where one landed on top of the other, they both DNF'd the race. So that is quite a poignant point of this circuit, which then leads onto a flat out section. Now Martin, to us, if you look back there, it looks like a corner, and we're also leading into another corner, but for an F1 car, this section now is easy flat.
Yeah, easy flat of course. When we come out of Q1, variant number 1, we have slightly curved with some curve on it, and then now as you can see we have a little turn that you don't want to take, because if you don't settle the car a lot, if you take this turn, if you take this turn, it's like going inside. But yeah, as my mate said, obviously this is flat out with the F1 car, easy, and then you just want to make sure you have the steering wheel super straight in order to have a good approach for variante number 2, which is the one we're coming now. Because yeah, when you brake with a single seater or with any cars, you just want to be as much straight as possible to be efficient on the braking and don't have any problems of blocking or anything. So we're heading down now to this corner, as you can see on my right side here. And this corner actually is one of the most easy to overtake in Monza, because we come from such a long straight after variante number 1, and we can have a lot of slipstream from the car in the front, and that allows us to overtake in this variante number 2. But also I have to say, there is a lot of burnout in case you overpush the corner. If you overtake and then you just go straight, you can always cut over this part of the track.
Absolutely, and you see behind us here, we have people walking the circuit, and we often get the current drivers, the support package drivers, walking the track, not just here at Monza, but everywhere we go. Because even though they have the simulator work and they probably race here on few times, they quite often like to come and see the circuit, just to make sure it's passing this one-man party over here in the woods, and he's having a great time. But as I was saying, the drivers like to walk the track just to see if there's any subtle differences. They might want to see what state the gravel trap's in. They might want to see if the sausage curves have changed. Yes, the simulator will pick up on certain things, but there's nothing quite like walking the circuit to see it yourself. And we've seen Oscar Piastri came out the pit lane, and I think I saw us going back again. And he was obviously just coming out either to do a bit of filming or to see something specific before going back. Now Martin, do you walk the circuit? Do you look at the track before you race it? Do you find it beneficial?
Yeah, of course. I think like Max Verstappen, as we said before, he also really likes to do the track work. He finds it a bit stupid, because obviously he's been doing a lot of laps on the racetrack, so he doesn't think maybe it's worth it. But I think when you're starting and you're like a junior driver, it's really nice and really important to go take some time with your engineer and just do the track work, try to see any curves that they do, like any sausage that we saw with variante number 1 and variante number 2. Or like, as we can see here on the green, sometimes they put a sausage, so it's really important to know on the track work if there is or there is not. But then you know what you can do when you go out, like the first time. And speaking about this one, obviously now we is really fast. We did Desmo 1 and Desmo 2 in the street, and it's quite easy to go outside here on the gravel because normally if you go a bit over the limit, you just go out on the gravel there.
And if you look behind you there, you'll see with where the racing line goes, I feel like this corner is going to be one of those track limit corners where it's going to maybe become a little bit controversial, like we saw in Austria, where all the drivers at some point over the weekend were causing track limits and having lap times taken away. And I think in the Porsche Super Cup race, practice session, there was over 120 track limits infringements. And I think the clerk of the course engineer is still God knows what time at night dealing with it all. Now, track limits has become a huge thing in Formula One. At certain corners it's going to stand out in other areas, but this I don't think it will have a huge amount other than the odd corner like the previous one and the one maybe onto the final straight. But one thing I do want to point out to you is we're about to go under this bridge here. It's going to get very, very echoey, so I'll probably stop talking just as we go underneath it. But when we come out the other side, if you look behind you, you'll be able to see the old circuit. Now that is the old racetrack. Look how steep it is. The cars would go around there on that banking. Marta, can you imagine trying to drive a race car on that banking these days?
I mean, I cannot really imagine. I think that would be crazy nowadays. I don't know how they did it, honestly, really. Yeah, I think it's like with Dragini or NASCAR, those kind of things. A lot. I did the lap myself. Like I went to see how much altitude was there, and it's crazy the elevation that there is. Like you even struggle to go up there.
You get to the top, and then all of a sudden you're stuck and you can't get down.
You're like
very steep.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you get a chance over the weekend to wander over to that old track section, I recommend it massively because it is such an iconic section and a real,
right here.
bit of the past to go see, have your photo at the top of the banking. But we'll go back onto this modern circuit now. We're at something very crucial of this circuit. You've got a chicane as such, but it's much more open than the previous two, and it also leads onto a long straight, which is DRS in Formula One. Martin, this must be a certain part of the circuit where you think, right, if I get a good run out here, this place is mine.
Yeah, this is Ascari, and you need to really have in mind the entry of Ascari. If you do a good entry, then you get out mid exits, which is really important because we have a long straight right now. If we see behind us, we have already the straight, but then we have a long straight in the back of us as well. So it's really, really long, maybe like 800 meters long. So obviously you want to make sure you're on the back of the car, like with the slipstream, trying to do the overtaking in the next corner in Parabolica. So I think just coming into this straight really fast, it's really, really important as you can see. And yeah, right now we're heading into Parabolica, which is the last corner of the track in Monza. It's a really cool corner, honestly. You can dig in the brakes a lot. But as you can see, the street is super long.
Absolutely. We've just had a question here about where the F1 cars brake, and they asked, 300, 200. Generally, at most corners, the F1 cars will be braking somewhere between 150 and 100, and normally closer to 100 than 150. I have to say, if you get to wander around the circuit at all, this final corner or any heavy braking zone is somewhere that is super impressive. You'd think the braking zone would be quite boring to watch, but it's just how late they can brake and how much speed they can carry through the corners. When we go to Silverstone, one of the areas I tell them to watch is Mexico, because we as normal race drivers will have to brake, turn. They go flat through there, and for our human brains to comprehend that, it takes a few laps just to dial yourself in. But this final corner, again, super fast. It could create some track limits on the exit, so again, controversial. Although there's lots of runoff, beyond that there is concrete, so gravel, so you can make a little error, run wide, but this tarmac then filters off just into gravel track, so you can't make too big a mistake through there, otherwise you get very, very heavy people.
Yeah, of course. Parabolica is quite good also to try new things because you have a lot of run out. It's true that you have the gravel, but before that you have a lot of asphalt and you can try new things, try to brake as late as possible or try to brake as fast as possible on the exit. But it's true that you have to be careful also with the track limits on the race. When we were racing here and even with the F1, sometimes there is some track limits also in that corner. But yeah, I think finally, as you can see, also you can see the the old track there, guys.
You actually see the banking come onto the new circuit. So where we saw it earlier on the circuit, that's where it then joins onto this one. So they would have been through that old section all the way until this part here.
Yeah, so we're finishing. That's our lap, guys. Now I think you're gonna see the championships trophy, right?
Yeah, so you've got two. Obviously, some of you have already seen the trophy, had your photo. That's absolutely fine. The pit lane is still open. So if you haven't had a chance to see all the cars, all the teams, please head into there. You've got probably another 20 or so minutes until the activities are over. But from myself and Marta, I want to thank you so much for joining us. It's our second lap of the weekend. But we do hope that whoever you're supporting this weekend does very, very well, and you have a brilliant rest of your day and rest of your weekend. Enjoy Monza.